Hi, welcome you all for the video on measurement of screw threads and gears in the module 3 of video syllabus. Today we are going to discuss on the 2-wire method of measuring the effective diameter. In the last video we had discussed about how to measure the effective diameter. The simple effective diameter which can be measured by 1, 2-wire or 3-wire or rod method. Generally, as we had discussed in the last video, yeah, the effective diameter or pitch diameter can be measured by any one of the following methods. One is the micrometer method, the one wire method, or two wire method, or three wire or rod method. Two wire or two rod method is one of the widely used technique to calculate or to determine the effective diameter. Here you can see in the figure uh, one wire is placed on one side of the screw thread which is to be measured, and the other wire is kept on the other side of the screw thread in the opposite direction, and the diameter is calculated, that is m is nothing but the dimension which is determined experimentally, that is the distance from the tangent of the wire to the distance over the other wire. So it is, we can call it in simple as the dimension over the wires which is determined experimentally, that is m. Once we calculate the m minus 2 times the dimension of the diameter of each wire will get the t value, will get the t value. Okay, so t plus small p value, this is the t value which we are getting. The plus p value which if we add it, that is the distance, we can call it as aq, that we, if we add it, we'll get the effective diameter or the distance. Like example here, the BC is the line which indicates the effective diameter line or pitch circle line. Then the diameter over the wires D plus this AQ will get it as a effective diameter. So based on this, we are going to we have to determine first m, and then we have to substitute in the formula of t, and then we have to calculate p from the derivation. We have to derive the equation for calculating the p, and then effective diameter is given by E is equal to d plus p. Okay, so effective diameter of a screw thread can be measured or may be ascertained by placing the two wires or rods of identical diameter, and those wires or rods which we call it as a best size wire, okay, between the flanks of the thread, and measuring the distance over the outside of these wires. The effective diameter is then calculated as E is equal to T plus P, where P itself is the value which depends upon the diameter of the wire and the pitch of the thread. That's why we have to derive the equation for calculating the P, which includes all these terms. If P is the pitch of the thread, capital P is pitch of thread, then small p is the pitch of the thread, then capital P is given by 0.9605 small p minus 1.1657 d, that is 0.9605 times of the pitch minus 1.1657 times of the d. D is the diameter of the wire. That is for the metric Whitworth thread. Whereas for the metric threads, the same capital P value, which is equal to AQ, is given by 0.866 times of the pitch minus diameter of the each wire, or the average diameter of the wire for metric threads. Actually, this derivation is very important for your examination point of view. Actually, P is a constant value which has to be added to the diameter under the wires to give the effective diameter. The expression for the value of P in terms of pitch, diameter and X thread angle can be derived, which we can see here, P value which is equal to 2 times of AQ. So we have to derive the expression for this. Let us go with the first term, that is BC, okay, which is known, which is a half of the pitch, which is the half of this pitch. So it can be called as half of the small p value. And then the next OP, to derive the OP, let me go with this equation. Sine of x by 2, sine of x by 2 is equal to OE in the triangle, OPE. As we know that right angle is formed at the tangent to the radius of a circle, so right angle is formed at OEP. Then hypotenuse will be OP. So sine of x by 2 is equal to opposite is OE divided by OP. So the OP will be equal to OE into sine of x by 2. Whereas sine of x by 2 we can call it as 1 divided by sine of x by 2 is a cosecant of x by 2. And OE, we can see here OE is the radius which is equal to d by 2, that is the diameter of the wire divided by 2, it is the radius of the wire. So OP will be equal to d by 2 of cosecant of x by 2. Okay, that's what it is written in this equation. Next is about PA, because we have to derive finally the AQ. We have to know PQ minus PA will be obviously the T. So we can to determine PQ we need PA. So that's why we have to next derive for the expression for PA. This PA is given by PA plus OA is equal to d by sorry PA plus OA is equal to d by 2 of cosecant of x by 2, because PA plus OA will be equal to OP, and OP we know we have derived already that it is equal to d by 2 of cosecant of x by 2. So OP can be rewritten as PA plus OA. Okay, and OA is again it is equal to d by 2. OA is equal to d by 2, it is the radius here. So uh, it is the OA is the radius here. Okay, and then PA plus d by 2 is equal to d by 2 of cosecant of x by 2, or PA we can rewrite it as minus of d by 2 plus d by 2 of cosecant x by 2, or d by 2 of cosecant of x by 2 minus 1. That is what the expression which is written here now. And then now we'll move to the PQ. PQ is equal to QC. PQ is equal to QC into cot x by 2, because we are x by 2 is here, right angle is at PQC. So tan of x by 2 is equal to opposite by opposite by adjacent. Opposite is QC divided by QP or PQ. So PQ is equal to QC into tan of x by 2, or QC divided by tan of x by 2. 1 by tan of x by 2 is cot of x by 2. So obviously PQ is equal to QC into cot of x by 2. Further, QC is equal to, it is a half of the half of this BC. QC is equal to half of the BC, and BC is the half of the pitch. So QC will be equal to P by 4 then. So PQ will be equal to P by 4 times of cot of x by 2. Now let us go with the AQ, which is the required expression here. So AQ is equal to PQ minus PA. PQ minus PA. What is PQ? Where P by 4, PQ is equal to P by 4 of cot of x by 2 minus What is PA? D by 2 of cosecant of x by 2 minus 1. So AQ will be equal to, is the half of the value of P. AQ is the half of the value of P because the wire is placed on either sides. So P value will be equal to 2 times of AQ. So multiply the whole expression by 2. Then it will be equal to P by 2 of cot of x by 2 minus D of cosecant of x by 2 minus 1. So that is the expression for capital P. When we know the capital P, we can add this to the dimension which is measured over the wires uh, with the diameter which is equal to T. So T is given by M minus 2D. So once we calculate the T with the help of the dimension which is measured over the wires, then for the T, if we add the capital value P, we get the effective diameter. That is how the effective diameter has to be calculated with the help of the two wire method. Further, one more method through which the effective diameter can be calculated is by three wire method. In this three wire method, the effective diameter is calculated by placing the three wires on two wires on one side, whereas the another wire on the opposite side. So three wires are placed on either sides of a screw thread to determine the effective diameter, either a wires or a rods. Further, this method ensures the alignment of micrometer and when faces parallel to the thread axis. The wires may be either held in hand or hung from a stand so as to ensure freedom to the wires to adjust themselves under micrometer pressure. So that is nothing but here these wires will give an accurate reading. Further, at the same time, instead of holding in the hand, these wires are generally suspended from a stand which is given in a floating carriage micrometer to administer, and it gives further freedom. When we held it in a hand, the wires will be firmly and it is very difficult to have a firm freedom to the wires. That is much freedom to the wires. When we suspend it, it is free to float. Then we can give a maximum freedom to the wires to adjust themselves under a micrometer. Further, here in the diagram, similar to the two wire method, also here also we have to determine the M, that is the distance over the wires, and E indicates the effective diameter of the screw thread, whereas R is the radius of the wires, D is the diameter of the best size wire, and H is the height of the center. This is H is the small h is the height of the center or the wire or rod from the effective diameter, and theta is the angle of the thread. So generally theta by 2 is the half of the angle. Coming the expressions here also, it is much different compared to the two wire. The small changes are there with when we compare the two wire method expression with the three wire method expression. From the figure we can analyze that AD is equal to AB of cosecant of x by 2. AD is equal to AB of cosecant of x by 2, which we had determined even in the two wire method, the same expression. Further, AB is equal to cosecant of x by 2, or into cosecant of x by 2. There we have derived in the earlier slide as d by 2 of cosecant of x by 2. Here I am determining it directly as r into cosecant of x by 2. Even if you want, you can note down it as d by 2 of cosecant of x by 2. The expression is same initially here. And further, capital H is equal to dE of cot of x by 2, which is equal to b by 2 of cot of x by 2. It is also a similar expression which we are derived even in the earlier slide for the 2 wire, which is nothing but CD is equal to half of H. So we can rewrite it as P by 4 of cot of X by 2. Further, a small h value which is equal to AD minus CD. AD minus CD is given by R is equal to h, small h is equal to AD minus CD. So therefore h is equal to small h, we can derive it as R is equal to cosecant of x by 2 minus p by 4 of cot of x by 2. Okay, now distance over the wires, here m is given by m is equal to e plus 2h plus 2r, or m is equal to e plus 2 of r of cosecant of x by 2 minus p by 4 of cot of x by 2 plus 2r. H is equal to AD minus CD. H is equal to R of cosecant of x by 2 minus P by 4 of cot of x by 2. So H we have substitute here. Sorry, this expression is a small correction. It was supposed to be H, which is equal to R of cosecant of a small correction here. H is equal to R of cosecant of x by 2 minus P by 4 of cot of x by 2. Substitute the H expression here. So m is equal to e plus 2 of r cosecant of x by 2 minus p by 4 of cot of x by 2 plus 2 times of r, or nothing but m is equal to e plus 2 r of 1 plus cosecant of x by 2 minus p by 2 of cot of x by 2, or m is equal to e plus d of 1 plus cot of x by 2, because 2r is the 2 times of the radius is diameter of the wire. So m is equal to e plus d of 1 plus cosecant of x by 2 minus p by 2 of cot of x by 2. Since 2r is equal to this d, 2r is equal to d. So by this way we can measure the value of m practically and then compare it with the theoretical values with the help of a formula derived above. And after finding the correct value of m and knowing d, one can found out e, that is the effective diameter. If the theoretical and practical values of m differ, then this error is due to one or more of the quantities appearing in the formula, especially maybe in the something like where during the manufacturing the thread exactly 60 degree. Example, let me consider a metric threads in which the thread angle we assume it as exactly 60 degree, but obtaining exactly 60 degrees is difficult. So that error may contribute the possibility error in the effective diameter, or the error or the deviation between the theoretical value and the practical value or experimental value. Okay. Similarly, there may be other parameters also, like exactly obtaining the pitch. So that may be the one of the possible error. Okay, and other manufacturing errors which may intervene here to contribute towards the error, and possibly that error can be determined by comparing the experimental value with the theoretical value. That is how we can that is what we can better do it. Further, in case of Whitworth thread, generally x is equal to 55 degree and the depth of the thread is given by 0.64 p, so that the effective diameter E can be given as d minus 0.64 p when we are going for 3-wire method, and cosecant of x by 2 is 2.1657, of cot of x by 2 is 1.921, so m will be equal to d d plus 3.1657 d minus 1.6 times of the pitch. Similarly, whereas in case of metric threads, the depth of the thread is given by 0.6495 p, so E will be equal to d minus 0.6495 p, or m x is equal to generally, as we already know, the metric threads generally the thread angle is 60 degree, cosecant of x by 2 will be equal to 2, when x is equal to 60 degree, and cot of x by 2 will be equal to 1.732. In that case, m can be resolved as, on substituting, m can be resolved as m is equal to d plus 3d minus 1.5155p. You can here clearly check the kind of the expression for m, which is different based on the type of threads, especially because of the thread angle these variations are happening. uh, and it is also a simple formula where we can compare the experimental value with the theoretically calculated value. So this is about the 2-wire and 3-wire method for determining the effective diameter. And these expressions play a very important role, or these effective diameters play a very important role in characterizing the screw threads. The wires which we use for which we use for the 2-wire method or 3-wire method, those wires we call it as an expression, those wires we call it as a best size wire. So this is the best size wire representation, where we can see that the wire is in completely contact, or it is acting like the flank or a tangent to the wire, and the wire is in contact with respect to the screw thread flanks on the pitch line. That is, the wires whichever we are using as a best size wire for the 2-wire method or 3-wire method, when we place it between the two flanks of the screw thread, it should be placed, it should be happen in such a way that the wire should be placed into the between the flanks of the screw thread, and it makes the contact on the pitch line. Such a wires we can call it as a best size wire. So in simple, the best size wire is one which makes contact at the pitch line or effective diameter of the screw thread. That is, we can say OP is perpendicular to the flank position of the thread. So let us derive the expression for the screw thread, best size wire. Let the angle, thread angle be theta by 2. Half of the thread angle be theta by 2. Then the triangle, consider the triangle OAP. Consider the triangle OAP. The right angle is formed here. If this is theta by 2, then this is 90 minus theta by 2, because this is 90 degree. So this will be the 90 minus theta by 2. And when we consider this as a right angle triangle, this is already a 90 minus theta by 2. So this also will become then theta by 2. Okay. So in the triangle, sine of POA, sine of POA, which is sine of 90 minus theta by 2, which will be equal to, opposite is AP, hypotenuse is OP. So it will be AP by OP. So sine of 90 minus theta by 2, sine of POA is equal to sine of 90 minus theta by 2, which is equal to AP by OP. Further, O, which can be rewritten as OP is equal to AP divided by sine of 90 minus theta by 2, or AP divided by sine of 90 minus theta or sine of 90 minus x, we can call it as cos of x. Cos of x. So AP divided by sine of 90 minus theta by 2 can be rewritten as AP divided by cos of theta by 2. 1 by cos of theta by 2 is equal to secant of theta by 2. So it will be, the expression can be further rewritten as AP into secant of theta by 2. So OP is equal to, then what is OP here? OP is equal to, it is the radius of the wire. It is the radius of the wire. So OP can be rewritten as, it is equal to R, which is equal to AP into secant of theta by 2. Further, dB is equal to wire diameter dB is given by 2 times of r, which is equal to 2 AP, which is into secant of theta by 2. This AP is equal to, further, AP lies on the pitch line. AP lies on the pitch line, and AP is equal to, already we know that AP is equal to P by 4, because the expression, if I am considering, let me say it as Q, let me say here as Q. If I am considering this point as Q, Q to PQ will be equal to P by 2. PQ will be equal to P by 2, or AP, in that case AP is half of the PQ, so it will be equal to P by 4. So AP is equal to P by 4, where P is the pitch of the screw thread. So 2 times of AP will be equal to, 2 times of AP will be equal to PQ, which is equal to P by 2. So dB will be equal to P by 2 of secant of theta by 2. Or if we are deriving in as usual manner, dB is equal to 2r, which is equal to 2 times of AP of secant of theta by 2. Since AP is equal to P by 4, 2 times of P by 4 into secant of theta by 2. So 2 ones are here, 2 2s are, so it will be P by 2 of secant of theta by so. So the diameter of the best size wire is called, is given by, the diameter is equal to P by 2 of secant of theta by 2. So the diameter of the best size wire need to be selected according to this equation. Here we can see the conditions when we can call the wire as a best size wire. The first size is about when the size of the wire is maximum. When the size of the wire is maximum, it cannot make the contact with the flank of this screw thread, even with respect to its effective diameter. It's somewhere near to the above the effective diameter. The pitch line is in contact with the wire surface. A wire surface is in contact with the flank of the screw threads. Similarly, when it is actually a best size wire, the wire makes a contact with the screw thread on the pitch line. Whereas when the size of the wire is undersized, then usually the size of the wire or the wire surface makes contact with the screw thread below the pitch line. That is when the size of the wire is undersized or minimum wire. So this is how the wire can be distinguished based on its size. So this is for regarding the best size wire. Regarding the working principle of toolmaker's microscope, uh, toolmaker's microscope, uh, it is one of the best type of the measuring instrument which we use it in the metrology labs or quality testing labs for determining the various parameters. It may be with respect to the threads, it may be with respect to the inclinations, or even other parameters, even sometimes gears. Okay, so there are many parameters which we can determine, or even we can determine the out of roundness of a given circle. So it is one of the finest instrument which we can use it in our lab, especially in the metrology lab. The tool maker's microscope, again, it is works based on the principle of optics. Here the principle which works, the optic principle which is used even in the tool maker's microscope is one is magnification, because the microscope, when we say that, it itself indicates that the magnification is the one of the primary optical principle which is being used in such instruments. And the microscope which is used here, we call it as a tool maker's microscope. It consists of a heavy hollow base accommodating the illuminating unit. On the top surface of the base, there is a work table or a carriage which is supported, and its movement is controlled by the micrometer screws. One is for the transverse direction, one is for the longitudinal direction. Further, protecting up from the rear of the base is a column which carries the microscope unit, and various interchangeable eyepieces can be used here. It is to achieve a better magnification. If we require example up to 20x to 1000x we can use, since the tool sorry by changing the eyepiece generally we operate at 400x or 100x. Light from the lamp at extreme right is collimated in the tube, collecting the lamp to the center of the microscope. Further, it is reflected as parallel beam by the mirror or the end of the tube. On its way, this beam collects the image of the object to be inspected, and this enters the microscope eyepiece, and through the eyepiece a shadow image of the part passes through the objective of the optical head and is projected by the system of the three prisms to a ground glass screen. Observations are made through the eyepiece of the optical head. Here you can see, so in this it is a very simple and most easiest form of representing the toolmaker's microscope. Here we can see one is the base which houses the whole or which supports the whole components of the toolmaker's microscope. It is supporting a column over which the guideways are made for the movement of the optical head in the vertical direction, whereas to the optical head there is an eyepiece which is connected through which the observer can observe the shadow of the given object. Further, the column houses various mechanisms of this optical head, and there is a handle for the movement of this optical head in the up or down position, and to achieve and to focus the image on the eyepiece. Further, over this hollow base there is a one more hollow base. Here we can see in this hollow base a lamp which is illuminated, which is connected to a collimating lens. Always in case of any kind of microscope we expect a monochromatic light source. That's why we generally go for a collimating lens which filters the other kind of wavelengths, and only a single wavelength light is being emitted out, and further the light is expected or the rays are expected to be monochromatic in so nature. Once it is completely filtered with the help of a collimating lens, then it is reflected back with the reflected further with the help of a mirror. The direction of the light we can see with the help of these arrow marks. This is further reflected with the help of a mirror which is placed in the inclined direction. Sometimes we place the illuminating lamp somewhere here so that it is being reflected back on this section with the help of the three prisms, and then the further mirror or over the mirror it is further reflected back, whereas here it is a simple mechanism through which it is being explained. The light after collimating lens it falls on the mirror and then it reflects at an angle of 90 degree over the transparent table. There is a glass table. This table has got two movements, one is in the x direction and one is in the y direction. Both are both movements are done with the help of the handles which are provided to the table, and it is moving with the, over the guideways. So when the mirror is passing through this transparent table, it gives or illuminates the shadow of the image, which is being captured with the help of the objective lens, which is being captured. The shadow of the object is being captured with the help of this objective lens. the objective lens and the eyepiece. This whole indicates the total achievable magnification. Okay, the shadow of the image, shadow of the object is being captured with the help of the objective lens, and then it is reflected over the eyepiece. Through the eyepiece, the operator can observe the shadow of the object. Yeah, and further in the eyepiece we can observe cross wires. We can observe a cross wires. And one more thing is the eyepiece is of rotatable, which also inherent with the, or which is also connected with the scale, which is in angular direction. That is, angular scale is placed over this objective lens. So this angular scale, which is connected over the eyepiece, helps the operator to determine the angle. So with the help of the table, we can determine any length or the distance which is either in the x direction or a y direction. Whereas the angular scale, which is connected to the eyepiece, with the help of that we can calculate what is the angle between the two desired lines, or angle intended by the two lines, okay, or the two edges of a given component. So in case of the thread, if I am saying example here, let me say it as the, so if I am calling this as a minor diameter and this as the major diameter, then the first initially placing the horizontal line at this location, if we take the reading and bring the same horizontal line at this location, take the another reading, the difference in the reading we can get it as the major diameter. Similarly, place the horizontal line at this location and bring the same horizontal line at somewhere at this location, we get it as the minor diameter. Whereas to calculate the pitch, place the vertical line somewhere here and then move the same vertical line on another crest, we get the difference in the reading as the pitch. Whereas for the angle we cannot determine because we cannot rotate the work table. So in that case we have to take the help of the angular scale, which is connected in this eyepiece. So let us assume that the thread is in this direction, in this manner. This is the thread angle for which we have to determine. So first place the one line of the crossbar as in this manner. So determine the initial reading. Now move this or rotate this line with the help of this eyepiece. The image has to be rotated and place the another way of crosswise in this manner. So the another angular reading, by placing the crosswire in this manner, we can take the final reading. The difference in the reading we can get it as angle theta. This determines the thread angle. So in this way, with the help of the toolmaker's microscope, we can calculate the minor diameter, major diameter, as well as the thread angle of a given thread. So that's why the toolmaker's microscope is considered as one of the best available instrument for the measurement of screw threads, because we can calculate up to 4 parameters on a given screw thread. Further example, if the out of roundness is there, the let me assume this is out of roundness for a given drilled hole. Let us check first what is its diameter somewhere here and then here, and then take or capture the image of this hole by placing it on a microscope, capture the shadow of the image of this hole and then compare it with the help of a software, check its dimension. We'll get the out of roundness. If it is actually a perfectly circle, we can place the perfect circle over this image and compare how much deviation it exists. with respect to the actual circle, and we can determine that whether it is out of roundness is too much or within the desired or given tolerance. So those all things can be inspected with the help of the toolmaker's microscope. Further, cross lines are engraved, and that is in continuation with the explanation. Cross lines are engraved on a ground glass screen which can be rotated through 360-degree, and measurements are made by these cross lines. The angle of illumination of the screen can be measured through a auxiliary workpiece provided on the optical head. Different types of graduated and engraved screens and corresponding eyepieces are used for measuring different elements. For example, a revolving screen measurement of standard threads will contain all the basic profiles, standard threads in various pitch ranges, and also various included angles. This is another instrument which works similar to the principle of toolmaker's microscope. In the toolmaker's microscope, we get the image, or the image is being captured with the help of an objective lens, and through an eyepiece, the operator will observe the shadow of the image. Whereas in this case, this is what we call it as a profile projector. In this case, we can get the shadow of the image, or the shadow of the image is being projected on a big screen, which we can observe it here. Here you can see a milling cutter image is being projected on a screen, which is having a transparent table, again similar to the toolmaker's microscope, and there is also an objective lens. Whereas the image which is being projected out here, it is with again now with the help of the prism, 3 prisms and a mirror, and finally it is projected on a screen. So that is how the image is obtained, or a shadow of a given object is obtained on a screen. That is in case of profile projector. So the profile projector, it has got its own advantages and limitations, which are advantages which is being one of some of the limitations of the toolmaker's microscope is taken care by the profile projector, whereas even the profile projector has also got its own limitation when we compare it with the toolmaker's microscope. The accuracy level, the defined precision levels, those are all again it may be sometimes different, and the applications also. The size is larger for the profile projector, whereas the toolmaker's microscope, it is limited, that it is a tabletop type of model, so it can be portable easily. Okay, and further, when we say either a toolmaker's microscope or a profile projector, both both need to be taken in a dark room, because when we are doing the experiment with respect to the toolmaker's microscope or a profile projector, we have to do all these experiments, especially the profile projector compared to the toolmaker's microscope. It has to be taken, it has to be done in the dark room, because the image what we can observe over the profile projector, it has to be clearly observed. It is possible to observe it clearly only when there is a dark room, rather than when the light is more. So that is one of the important limitation of the profile projector. So it needs, the requirement of the profile projector is basic requirement of the profile projector itself is a dark room. I think the first part of this model 3, which is with respect to the screw threads, is completed here. As a disclaimer, I can say that there are many resources which I have used as a part of this teaching material. I acknowledge all such sources and don't claim any kind of novelty in this. However, the even the textbooks, some other internet sources also I have used in preparing this video, maybe from the sources of the company. So I acknowledge all sources and thankful to all such sources. Acknowledging those sources, I thanks to them. I thank all of you for your patient listening in watching this video. Thank you all. In the next video, we'll discuss on the gates. It is the next part of the module 3.